moment. I forgot something. Alright, guys. Sorry, I forgot my glasses. Not that I totally need them to read. Sometimes they help. I'm hoping that we are now working with YouTube correctly. I'm not sure still yet. I do not know. I do not know. So I've noticed on some of the other people that I follow that I watch their work, they have been having trouble with YouTube too. So, hi Bella Condini. So I don't know if indeed YouTube is going to work. I feel bad for my YouTube viewers because I haven't been able to do anything over there because of the last few videos that I've done. I haven't been able to post. They've been dropping or freezing or whatever. So I don't know. It's goofy. No, that's not what I want to do. How's everybody this morning? Thank you. Good morning, Belen. Just sharing the groups right now, so I can't see everybody's comments in the Facebook screen yet until I get all my groups hit. You guys can like and share and follow this. This is our weekly. It's Sunday, so I'm doing 3 cards today for the week, the energy of the week. Obviously, with free will and choice, this can change. And each card is going to represent a different amount of days or times for you throughout the week. You know, like one card might be only one day or even a half a day for some people. And one card could be, you know, half the week for some people. But it just kind of depends on how quickly we move through our own stuff, you know, energetically or mentally or emotionally. Good morning, Carrie Lawrence. How are you? Good morning, Kim Klein. Good morning, Janet Moon. Good morning, Sugar Christine Louise. How are you? I love that name. Just makes me think of sweet stuff. So, you know, like I said, 3 cards, kind of predictive for the week of what to expect, gives us a little insight, lets us sort of see what's happening. These cards are not going to magically work for everybody all the time. And like I said, we do have free will. We have options to choices to change the energy or to, you know, do something different if we need to. And that's the whole point of doing a forecast, is to look ahead. That's why we look at the weather, so that we can plan our day, right? So we're looking at sort of like the energetic weather for the week. And then each day in the morning, I get up and I do 1 card for that day, which gives us a little deeper look into what we might be dealing with that day. Yesterday, we had the Lover's card, so I don't know if any of you guys were able to explore some self-love, some self-appreciation, or love of another, or the people that you do love that are around you. I appreciate them a little bit more. But yesterday was a good day for that, with that card being present. Hey, Kelly Casey. Kelly. Kelly's asking, do you want to share our experience with my grandmother yesterday? I was thinking about that. So some of you guys know I'm going to a mediumship class, and mediumship sort of scares me. It's something that I would really love to do, but I'm sort of like nervous because I don't know all the rules of how you open up to everything. And Kelly, you're funny. And so I've been attending this mediumship class with one of the members in the group, Kelly Casey. She lives here in Mexico too. And we got paired up last night to do little mini reads on each other. And so he takes us through. I'm not supposed to talk too much. I guess we're not supposed to gossip about the class and what goes on in the class, but I'll tell you because this is my experience and Kelly's okay with it and she's here, so I think that it's okay to do this. I don't think I'm stepping on any toes by sharing this information. But so we go, and I go to read Kelly, and the first thing I see when I close my eyes and we do the little meditation is I see this woman with this older woman with glasses, and sort of curly hair, and she's older, like in her 80s, and she's handing me apple pie, like immediately, and she's on this side of me, and she's like, apple pie, apple pie. I was like, what? And then I got like M or Martha for a name, right? And I thought in my head, because my fear around mediumship or my nervousness around mediumship is like, So my head goes, no, you're thinking of your grandmother Myrtle. That's her name. That's why you're getting an M. Don't say anything. You're adding your stuff to it. Stop it. And so he says, open your eyes. And we open our eyes. And he says, okay, now don't interpret, but tell them what you saw. So I say to Kelly, and Kelly's got a pretty good poker face, I would say. I'm telling her, I'm like, okay, so it's this older lady, and she's about 80, and she's handing me apple pie, and Kelly's going, and I'm getting nothing off of Kelly, so I think I'm sounding crazy. And right before I stop, because it was like a really quick thing before he had us open our eyes, right? And I was like, and she was handing me apple pie, and Kelly's going, I go, oh, and by the way, she said like M name or like M for Martha or like something like that. And Kelly goes, well, I don't know if I'll say it exactly like how Kelly said it. What Kelly says, well, my grandmother used to always bake apple pie, and whenever I smell apple pie, I always say, hey, Grandma, no matter where I am. And she's like, and my grandmother's name was Maud. So that kind of spooked the shit out of me. It was cool, like very, very cool. But I was really surprised that it was so fast and so clear and quick, and Kelly was able to affirm it for me so quickly. It was like really cool. And I left there last night totally thanking Maud. I was like, thank you, Maud, for coming through. Now you can go back and be with Kelly, but thank you so much. And I was even thanking her a little bit this morning. I was a little bit on a bit of a like, I can't believe that happened kind of thing. I guess it happened with a couple of the students. We've been having it's a really good group of people. If you're ever in Puerto Vallarta for 6 weeks and want to take a mediumship class, you should look into it. The teacher's great, and the class has been really good. It's a really good group of individuals, and everybody's, doing their thing, learning. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's making me feel a lot safer about the idea of mediumship, because I just, spirits and all that sort of stuff, I kind of try and keep it really practical and try and keep it grounded with what I do as best I can, like how do I apply it to my day-to-day life in a spiritual manner that sort of helps me to, get through my day. And that's, mediumship does do that, don't get me wrong. Mediumship is like one of the most hugely validating healing experiences for those of us that are left behind by our past loved ones. And it would be such a gift to be able to do that. But it's so scary to think like, oh my God, what if you did something wrong or said something wrong, or I don't know. It's just silly fears that get in my head. But that happened yesterday, so Kelly said to bring it up. And she says it was perfect. And it was like, boom, she was there with apple pie, like clear as day. It was so crazy. And then Kelly, like, confirming that, like, every time she smells apple pie, she says, hey, Grandma, like, just tripped me out. So it was cool. It was affirming. We love when that sort of shit happens. And take it and run with it, Karen says. I will try. It looks like YouTube is working. Is that true, Belen? Is YouTube working now? Because it looks like you're commenting from YouTube. I hope it is working. It'd be nice to have some YouTube back going, because I'm worried that YouTube, I'm not paying enough attention to it. All right, so let's look at the week this week. Let's pull 3 cards we're doing the week starting today, which is Sunday the 26th of May, going through Saturday the 1st of June. Wow, we're leaving and going into June already. That went by fast, huh? Happy Sunday, Sandra Thompson. Happy Sunday. Good morning, Carrie Clapham. All right, let me see here. Okay, the overall shuffle felt really nice, like very smooth, not a lot of resistance. It felt like actually kind of like my first impressions would be that like quite a bit might get accomplished this week. If those of us have tasks ahead of us that we're feeling like might be too big or that we have a lot we want to get done this week, this shuffle felt like it actually kind of the energy might be moving sort of fast and smoothly. So we might surprise ourselves and get more done than we expected is kind of maybe the feeling that I'm getting. Hopefully that's true. We'll see what's in the cards. And you know, obviously like energy shifts and changes all the time, but as it stands right now, what I got from the shuffles, it didn't feel like that there was going to be a lot of outside resistance, so we weren't going to have a whole lot of people like, you know, maybe jumping in our way or driving us nuts or whatever. We'll see. But let's look at the first card. This card represents for the first few days of the week, starting today. This is the Six of Cups, which is sorrow. To me, when I look at this card, this feels like it is a sort of, there is a sadness to it. Obviously, it's the sorrow card. Let me just show it to you guys, and then I'll post it over there to YouTube. But what it feels like to me when I look at this card is it's sort of like giving to a situation that maybe is no longer working or serving us, and being really aware of that. Sorry, Buddha. I'm just trying to find the right balance for him to hold that card there. And the way that I see this and why I see it this way is because that overturned vase here, right? That sort of feels like the us, you know, me or say whoever is experiencing their week. It's sort of like us trying to hold our own, keeping ourselves protected and safe, yet giving to situations that may not be serving us anymore, emotional situations, emotional feelings, things, reminders, things that just are out of date or no longer working for us, that kind of only, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be in sorrow this week, but I think that we're going to be in realization of what it is that causes us sorrow, right? Like, it's going to be sort of maybe harder to avoid, that we're giving to situations that are no longer serving us or that are no longer giving back to us. Does that make sense? And that card kind of does make sense to me a little bit, because yesterday we had the Lovers card, which was all about sort of like giving to ourselves and appreciating ourselves. So maybe today is a little bit about like going, okay, well, I felt appreciative of myself yesterday. Now that I'm like dealing with this person or this situation or these feelings that are old and outdated, reminders of like a past that I don't really want, that doesn't serve me anymore, we might come into contact with the realization that like, this is causing me nothing but sadness, this is causing me nothing but pain, this is something that I need to either let go of or walk away from or stop giving to so freely, right? The one thing I do think in this card is we do have a light. There's a light in that vase, right? It's sort of shining golden. We do have a light, and we do have those beautiful flowers pouring forth. So we do have gifts to give, but we also get to choose where we give them and when we give them. And we don't have to give them to everyone. This card's definitely a reminder that sometimes when we give to situations that like aren't working for us, they actually just tend to just take, and we're just sort of like expending energy that we don't necessarily need to expend. Does that make sense? It feels like sometimes like maybe we're being misinterpreted or not appreciated. This card always too, for me, has a familial base to it. Like it always feels like old family ties or old relationships, exes, that sort of thing, or soon to be exes if we are really letting go. It's got like deep ties to emotional sadness or emotional sorrow that we just don't want anymore. And it's funny, as I'm saying that we just don't want it anymore, I'm looking to this part of the card which does not normally draw my attention, but it's this horizon where the water, which represents sort of emotions, actually has a reflection of light happening off of it, and there is a horizon and there is a beyond these feelings that we might be experiencing. So I kind of like this card because it's telling us not only like is it time to let go of situations that no longer provide for us as in the same way that we provide for them, but also it's showing us too that we are beautiful, strong, we have our own light and plenty of wonderful things to give. So there is a self-appreciation, there is a self-awareness in this card that is beneficial, that does like ask us to sort of stop, look, and say, is this really bringing us happiness or is this bringing us sorrow? You know, is this something that's traditionally been good for us, or is it something that we've been dealing with for a long time, and it's time to maybe acknowledge it for what it is, and then sort of release ourselves from it? Okay, so that would be for, you know, the first day or two of this week. We might be looking at that. Our next card is the universe. Let me show it to you here. The universe is an interesting card. It packs a punch. It is from the major arcana, so it's got some heavy energy to it. It means that there's it could have a big shift for people midweek. Why are you not stand up there? Okay. To me, again, it feels a little stuck, the energy, and I don't mean stuck in a bad way. It feels like we're not sure which way to go. And after following that sorrow card, hold on, let me write this down. 6 of Cups, sorrow. Just keeping our notes here. After going through this sorrow card, or maybe this release of whatever is not serving us, we're left with like sort of a space, right? We're left for a sort of a space of a place where we used to give energy to, a situation that maybe no longer served us, that we used to give energy to, from family or friends that we used to have in our lives that that are no longer there. There's that thing that, like, you know, energy, the universe doesn't really like a vacuum. It's always going to fill something new in there. That's why, like, cards like Death or the Tower, in my opinion, are actually sometimes good things, because they require us to move something out so that something new can come into its space. This universe card says to me that the universe is really like kind of sitting at our doorstep going, okay, so what is it that you want? What is it that you want to put there? If you're ready to let go, and you're ready to stop doing this to yourself, and ready to stop being stuck in this sorrow, what is it that you want? You get to pick it. Because and the reason why I look at that, why I see it that way, is we've got all these things swirling around here, you know, and then we've got this statue in the center that's sort of stuck in this stone. And to me, that's the statue represents as us, like, sort of contemplating and looking at everything and going, oh my God, well, I could have it this way, or I could have it that way, or I could have it this way. But the only fear is the stoneness of the statue for me. Not fear, because I don't want to focus on the fear, but the only warning would be is sometimes we get overwhelmed by the amount of choices, or sometimes we get overwhelmed, like, perfect example, class last night, and figuring out what happened between Kelly and myself, and seeing, you know, Kelly validating that for me. The first thing was super excitement, right? I was super excited, but then it kind of scared me. And that's sort of what this universe card kind of can represent too, is it's like, what is it that we do really want? And when we do really want it, how willing are we to go after it? How you know, brave are we to stick our neck out there and achieve our dream, or chase the thing that we really, really want in the world, right? And that's kind of what this universe card says to me, is that the universe is working with us to try and get us there. If we allow it, and we acknowledge it, and we, you know, make a choice and make a very definitive decision, our options are there. And this will be midweek. I think this will be by, like, you know, for some of you, obviously early as Tuesday, but surely kind of by Wednesday, you might be looking at some big options, some big changes, some big decisions that need to be made. All positive, I think. All like kind of like, you know, weighing what will feel best, what will be better for me, what will get me further, right? But the only thing that I would think that might cause us pause would be fear of responsibility, or upholding our determination to get ourselves there, or would be our own inability to choose, because the options seem so varied and many that we might be picking and going, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, I could do that, but then we never actually move forward because we're so busy looking at all the options and weighing them. But the universe is there, and the universe packs a punch. It's there to help us. It's there to move us. It's there to bring us further along our path to where we want to be, ultimately for our own highest good, as they say. Okay, so now, end of the week card. And again, there's dailies that come on in between now and then, but these are the backup cards that are sort of underlying the energy of the week, okay? Interesting, we had synthesis last week as the end of the week card. And this week it's kind of a close card. It's the 6 of Worlds, guys. One moment. 6 of Worlds. So this card is called Synergy. And last week, our end of the week card, our week ends card was synthesis, where they're very similar, I think. In synthesis is like trying to get there, trying to work within your situation, work within your communication to kind of balance everything out and make things come together and work. And it's a crystals card, which has to do with the mind. This is the world's card, so this has to do more with finances, jobs, careers, material goods, relationships, that sort of thing, in the real world, right? So this is synergy. This is like finding a balance. This is like taking all of like the stuff that maybe was seeming overwhelming and kind of bringing it into some semblance of balance and synergy with for yourself by the week's end. I think that it might be some of these decisions in the universe card that need to be made, and the release of the sorrow card at the beginning of the week. If we're letting go of things that are no longer serving us, we're then choosing things that are better for us through this universe card. By the end of the week, we're looking at this synergy card where we're thinking, okay, now I've choose these better things and I'm starting to bring them in, I'm starting to pursue them and go after them and make these goals happen. So now how do I bring them into my world productively and balanced and fill that space, right? That space that maybe is left by the sorrow card, right? How do I bring them in a manner that's like balanced, synergy, like linked together and working well, right? In conjunction, or I don't know how I say it. I haven't had enough coffee yet. So to me, and the swans down at the bottom, it's always interesting. They represent, in Native American swan medicine, is grace. So this is like trying to balance everything, and also the swans are kind of representing to me this morning, like doing that gracefully, bringing these new changes, these new things, these new exciting changes into our lives in a way that's graceful. It may feel a little overwhelming because when I look at these swans, they've got a lot going on in this circle. They're like going like, oh gosh, but they're trying to bring it in a balanced, sort of healthy way onto the material plane, right? Because it's a world's card. So I think that the universe is going to start to throw us some stuff this week that we're going to have to look at and go, oh shit, I want this. Okay, how do I bring it into me? How do I get it to me? And by week's end, we're going to be figuring out those ways of making them real for ourselves and making them, bringing those into the spaces in our lives where we've moved out things that are not working for us anymore, emotionally, in that sorrow card at the beginning of the week, okay? So this is going to be a good thing. We're going to see like a transference of like shifting our emotions, letting go of old things, stop giving to situations that don't give back to us, making decisions in clear choices, and noticing when the universe meets us. Like last night, perfect example, me in that class. The universe totally met me. Maud came up with apple pie and said, here you go, you want to be a medium? Here, we'll show you, you can do it. It scares the shit out of me, guys. I want to do it so bad, so bad, but I'm nervous. Like, I don't want to do it wrong, and I don't want to, like all of these things get in my head. But like, so, maybe later this week there's going to be other opportunities where the universe is going to show up for me and say, here you go, here's an option, see if you can do it. So synergy would be about me bringing that in. I'm just using me as an example, me bringing that stuff in by week's end, by maybe next class, in a more balanced manner, and really owning it and having it. So, and that could mean anything for anybody. That could be a new job, it could be a new career, it could be a new relationship. Whatever those things are that we're working on, that we're trying to produce or that we want, this universe card in the center of the week is definitely telling us we can have it, but we also have to be really conscious about how we're creating it. And I think that's some of what my anxiety is in the morning, guys, is I'm just sort of like, I've been listening to my, like laying in bed in the morning when I wake up, and I'm anxious and I don't know, I try and give my body some time to sort of talk to me, if that makes any sense at all, and tell me sort of what's going on. And I'm not exactly sure quite yet why it is in the early mornings that my anxiety almost like is with me when I wake up. I'm able to shake it once I'm up and out in my day, which is great, and I'm really thankful for, but I still don't understand what the signal is there that first thing in the morning where I wake up kind of like, and it's that jittery worry feeling, and I'm not sure what, but I'm listening. right? And I'm paying attention, and I'm just trying to be easy on myself as best I can. And so this universe card to me, for me personally, represents that, always pay attention to what's going on. It's going to sound a little bit contradictory. It's most important to have our attention here in the center of our head, right? Focused on ourselves. That's the most important thing of all of it, right? But it's also important to pay attention to the signs and symbols of the universe as it shows you sort of that it's there, it's watching you, supporting you, and loving you at the same time. And I do get those signs all the time too. Last night in class was one of them. Music is one of them. My dogs are one of them. Animals, like when I see certain animals at certain times outside in the wild, and they, I go and I look up the spiritual meaning of them. Usually there's something in there for me, and I believe that's the universe meeting me to give me a message. And so, I learned last night in class, as far as guardian angels, we have different classifications of guardian angels, which I never knew that. Or not guardian angels, but spirit guides. Sorry, I don't want to get them mixed up. But we were taught about the difference, which made complete and total sense to me. And one of them is our messenger guide, right? And they are the ones that work on bringing messages through to us, to speak to us, to tell us, which way to turn, which way to go. And so you can always sort of ask that guide, okay, messenger guide, send me messages. And the messenger guide will work within the laws of the universe or the universe will work with the messenger guide to get you those messages of, is this the right path? Does this feel right to you? Your body, your emotions, all of those things are going to tell you whether or not it feels right. If you're caught up in your head and you're caught up in a bunch of fear and stuff, I would say stop, meditate, get centered. I did my protections this morning after I was done trying to let my body talk to me and tell me what was going on. I wasn't getting a full-on clear answer. So I said, okay, I'm going to do my protections. I got to get up. I got to do this. And I'm going to go spend the day probably just checking in with myself throughout the day. Last night's experience was very, very cool. It makes me, it induces the desire to want to meditate more and more and really explore this. I think the fun thing about class was that it was a safe space. And so that's why I was able to have such an experience, because a lot of times when I'm here, I do pray for the fear to be lifted because I'm aware that I'm in fear about spirit contacting me. But we did some exercises that I really enjoyed. That allowed me to sort of allow spirit to come to me and be aware that it was there, and I felt safe. So I'm going to practice those this week so that I get better and more adept at those. And let me take down this energy card. So I would say it's going to be a good week. And that universe card too, also that speed with which that I saw the shuffle, and it felt like we were going to get a lot more done this week than we maybe expect. That synergy card and that universe card says to me that things like there's going to be big choices and changes. The universe is willing to provide and help and push us along with that added extra oomph of energy. And by the week's end, we're going to be or synergy is kind of like organizing everything that we've sort of changed in a week's time. Does that make sense? We'll have to go back and rewatch this and see, how everybody was affected this week and if it did make sense and did happen for you. Please like, share, follow, subscribe. Join the Facebook group if you'd like. It's a small group of people. I do go in there and do little one-card reading pulls. I'm always available for private readings if you need to. All my information is pinned, and you can contact me at my business page on Facebook. And I think that's it for now. Decky and I are planning something for the group. I got to figure out what day. But we'll do some sort of event for this week, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow for. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the forecast. Sorry to be all big and yawny, but hello. I can't read those Chinese. I'm assuming those are Chinese characters, but hello to you from wherever you are. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope YouTube worked. It looked like people are watching from YouTube, so I'm really stoked on that. Maybe YouTube has gotten its shit together. And I will see you guys all later. All right, have a great day, you guys.